4 words why the Oscars should have a Best Video Game category. Red Dead Redemption 2. Sucker? I guess that's 5 words. Here's 7 more words for y'all. Bang your head to the opening riff! What's happening, y'all? It's your boy J-Dub here with The Real Rush, and welcome to episode 14 right here on YouTube. And it's the last episode of 2K18, y'all. 2K19 just on the horizon in just a few days. But that does not mean that it is the last day of The Real Rush Season 2. No. The next season doesn't start for a couple weeks. See, we can't have New Year's and season premiere of The Real Rush happen at the same time, because the universe and the atmosphere and the space-time continuum, it's not zoned for all that shit to happen at the same time, and it would be of catastrophic measures that things would occur if those things were to happen and impact at the same time. So I had a talk with the proper organizations, it's properly spaced out, so that way, the impact is still high, it's still enough to where people can feel it, but it's a good type of feel it. So, and it's all good. So we're good to go. The earth is round, and everything's on the right gravy train, man. That's how it is. But hey, that's New Year's. How was everyone's Christmas? Did you have a good Christmas? What did Santa bring you? I'm gonna start doing this Dora Explorer style. Were you naughty or nice? Okay, so I'm not sure if that was as creepy or creepier than Dora the Explorer. But then again, nothing's creepier than Dora the Explorer, peeping at you when you're waking up hungover on a Saturday morning. But that was years ago. I'm proud to say that in 2K19 in February, I'll be hitting 7 years sans drinking, ladies and gentlemen. But that's then. And now we talking about Christmas. But now let's get to the now. Let's go ahead and get down to the now. Let's go ahead and get on down to brass tacks. What I got here for y'all on episode 14, Real Rush, last episode of 2K18. First up on the Real Rush ticket here this episode, the hotly acclaimed, y'all, If Beale Street Could Talk. This is the new film from director Barry Jenkins, who directed Moonlight a couple years ago, won Best Picture at the Oscars over La La Land, yes, and I was one of the people that was rooting hardcore for La La Land, and that was a moment, that was the biggest flub I've ever personally witnessed actually at the Oscars. That one hurt. See how passionate I am about that, because I just completely went off topic. Nevertheless, Moonlight was an amazing movie, and I'm still glad that went. Yet I digress. But yes, this is the new film from the same director, Barry Jenkins. It's got the same style and everything too, but we're gonna get down to that in a little bit. If Beale Street Could Talk, this is a film adaptation of the 1974 James Baldwin novel of the same name. Now this follows 2 characters. You have Tish and Fonnie, childhood friends who have grown to become lovers in young adulthood. And this is how Tish seeks to prove Fonnie's innocence of a crime that he did not commit. And this has to happen. They're trying to do this with the support of Tish's family before the birth of their child. This joint, If Beale Street Could Talk, was chosen as one of AFI, the American Film Institute, as one of their top 10 films of 2018. And this deserves every bit of it. Would I put it in The Real Rush's top 10? That still remains to be seen. I haven't quite calculated that list yet. This is definitely, it's pretty close to my radar when it comes to that. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. As I started to say a little bit earlier, Barry Jenkins, he brings that same directorial and film style to the table that he had in Moonlight. That, to If Beale Street Could Talk, the cinematography, and even down to some of the editing. The editing, this is the best way I could put it is, it's most of the same style as you saw from his in Moonlight, but less gritty. It's a little bit more clean in the proper places. That is. I'll leave that as it may be. Take it for what it's worth. There is a monologue in this joint from Brian Tyree Henry that absolutely blew me away. And not to mention, Regina King, she puts on one of the, no, not one of the best, she puts on the best performance of her career. She's been in a lot of roles, y'all. Check out her prolific career. Check her out on IMDb. Please do. This is up for Best Motion Picture Drama at the upcoming Golden Globes. It's going to be up against, in that category, it's going to be up against Black Panther, Black Klansman, Bohemian Rhapsody, and A Star is Born. Now, while I'm not going to reveal who I'm thinking is going to win out of those 5 people, we're going to get to that next week's episode. Is this a big contender in my eyes? Yes. The biggest threats to this, Black Klansman and A Star is Born, is what I personally say that. I would kind of put Bohemian Rhapsody in that one, but then again I would kind of put Black Panther in that. But out of those, who's coming out on top? I don't know. Like I said, we'll get to that next weekend. But for now, see If Beale Street Could Talk, ladies and gents. It lives up and then some, and then even more some, to all the hype that it's gotten up to this point. If you want to check this joint out, it's in wide release, but it's not playing at every theater, at least not in this area. I haven't seen it in any chain theaters. I saw it at the Angelica the other night. So if you're in the Northern Virginia, DC metropolitan area, that is one theater that is playing it, that I know of for sure. If not there, you may also check Cinema Arts Theater. I'm not sure if they're playing it or not, but that's also a theater to check. And check your local chain theater. But I'm pushing this one. I'm pushing it. It's an easy contender for Best Picture at the upcoming Oscars. That's flat out. That just goes without saying. So yeah, If Beale Street Could Talk, see it where you can, and prepare yourself for one outstanding piece of work. Next up on the Real Rush Ticket, this episode. Now this is one that I was hotly anticipating. Not just for the month of December, but just overall. Vice. This is the new film from Adam McKay. This is based on the life of former Vice President Dick Cheney and his path on becoming the most, not only the most powerful vice president in history, but I'd say the most powerful government official, even more so, the most powerful man, even over President G.W. Bush at the time, even more powerful than him. And were his tactics in, achieving such a feat always, moral and on the up and up? Yeah, not so much. At least that's how Vice portrays it. That's what I like about being a political outsider. If y'all saw my post from when I saw Vice, I said I was going to give y'all an outsider's review. I consider myself a political outsider. I know what's going on, don't get me wrong. I'm not politically ignorant. I'm not living under any kind of rock. You gotta watch. You can't watch any type of news without getting some type of info, one-sided or not. But seeing this kind of thing, not biased, call it down the middle. And there is no digression there because I'm still talking about Vice. Damn it. Anywho, Christian Bale as Dick Cheney. Awesome. 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 So good. So good. Christian Bale, so good as Dick Cheney that for most of the movie, I forgot that I was watching Christian Bale playing Dick Cheney on screen. Like, the man did his work. I don't know if, like, he was bunking with Dick Cheney for, like, a year or two to get this role down or whatever, but whatever Wheaties he had to eat to nail this, I almost said whatever Wheaties Christian Bale had to eat to nail Dick Cheney. That's what he got. That's what he got right there, man. That's what you got. It's so powerful that his role had shades of Gary Oldman last year as Winston Churchill in Darkest Hour, and that was my pick for Best Actor all the way at the Golden Globes and at the Oscars last year, and Gary Oldman walked away with both of those. He took home both of those actors. He took home both of those awards. Yeah. Right now, speaking of awards, Vice leads the pack at the Golden Globes with the most nominations at 6 nominations, including Christian Bale. He's up for Best Actor in the musical comedy category, instead of Best Actor musical drama, which is what Gary Oldman was nominated in. He's going up against Lin-Manuel Miranda. Actually, no, let's go by movie. So he's going up against Lin-Manuel Miranda for Mary Poppins Returns, Viggo Mortensen for Green Book, Robert Redford for The Old Man and the Gun, and John C. Reilly for Stan and Ollie. In my personal opinion, Christian Bale is leading this pack so far, by far, with the exception of John C. Reilly and Stan and Ollie. I haven't seen that yet. That's looking to be released around here on the 18th of next month, I believe. And that's getting a lot of hype. A lot of hype. So we're gonna see. Unfortunately, that's gonna be after the Golden Globe, so maybe that'll give us a little bit of something. A little bit of towards that. So not only is Christian Bale up for Best Actor, and like I said, we're gonna get into that in more detail. That's the one I'll give you right there. That's the one I'll absolutely give you right there. Is that Christian Bale is leading the Best Actor musical or comedy category at the Golden Globes. Not only is he up for Best Actor, but Vice is up for Best Picture musical or comedy at the Golden Globes. Now this is going up against Crazy Rich Asians, The Favorite, Green Book, and Mary Poppins Returns. Out of those, do I consider this a contender? Possibly. Possibly. And I'll get to that part in a second. Its biggest threats, in my personal opinion, without question, Crazy Rich Asians, and I'd say Green Book over The Favorite, even though Favorite is probably going to be the favorite over Green Book, but I think I'm going to flip it. I personally would put Green Book over The Favorite, and then Favorite would end up being like your sleeper nominated, or like your sleeper winner or something. That's just. But then again, we're gonna get into that next week. The reason that I brought up what I said a second ago, because I don't remember exactly what it is I said, but I said that I would get to it in a second, and now I'm getting to it in a second. The Big Short. The Big Short was nominated for Best Picture in the same category at the Golden Globes a couple years ago, as well as Best Picture at the Oscars a couple years ago. I like this better than The Big Short. It retains the narration and the aside explanation style of The Big Short, which I thought was pretty damn cool. The satire of Vice plays like an on-screen newspaper political comic, or a political newspaper comic, vice versa Vice. Versa Vice, vice versa. I didn't even, that's awesome. So, aside from Christian Bale, the other performances in this are absolutely off the chain. You got Amy Adams as Lynn Cheney, Steve Carell, everything, homeboys, Everything. Steve Carell's on fire. Steve Carell's in as Donald Rumsfeld. You got Sam Rockwell as President G.W. Bush, and Tyler Perry shows up in it at one point as Colin Powell. I really dug because it's current. It's based on current events. Not only is it based on a true story, it's based on current events. We got a running joke about that in the District Wasteland podcast, by the way, which I appeared on a couple days ago. That episode should be up within a couple days. Now I can say, yet I digress. But I really dig how Vice really raises the question of just how much of what the story that's being told on screen is accurate. And that's the point where it's getting a lot of press, obviously, because you do have the bias going on. You got everybody who thinks they're either a politician or they think they're some type of political expert, vice versa, whatever. Everybody wants to throw a McLaughlin group type show these days, whatever. To combat this, or not to combat this, to just flat out say it, the movie is completely self-aware of this the entire time. It's there. Like, there's no trail of breadcrumbs needed for it. That being said, you want to stay through the ending credits. Like, it knows. It knows that there's a reason towards the one-sidedness. And that's all I'm gonna say. Aside from that, you want to see Vice. You want to see Vice. See Vice. I want to see it again. I want to see it again, just because of the fact that the wit and the drama of it, and the drama in it, some of it is so sharp and so missable yet. I want to see it again. I want to see it again. And it's going to be interesting how it plays out. Best Picture at the Golden Globes next weekend. So Vice, see that shit. Stay through the credits. Thank me later. Next up on the Real Rush Check-It, Holmes and Watson. This joint. People want to know how this one is. This is the new comedy. Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly as the famous characters, Sherlock Holmes and Doc Watson, respectively. And this time they're investigating a plot against Buckingham Palace and a threat against the Queen of England. And that's the plot right there. Holmes and Watson. Boom. There it is. Not giving anything away. Boom. That's your one sentence plot. This is a screwball comedy. All the way. And that is its flaw, unfortunately. Because the type of screwball comedy that it's portraying on screen is not the type of comedy that this kind of area, I wouldn't say necessarily gets. They get it. It's just not the kind of area, the type of humor, the type of screwball humor that they go for. It's more geared towards old school. Well, at this point, old school, yeah, 70s, 80s, maybe even early 90s. So at points, I really dug this movie. I got some pretty decent laughs. It took a while for it to really warm up to me, but I started getting some laughs out of this joint. And I was in it with the audience of 5 people, myself included. There was a couple rows behind me. They got a couple chuckles out of that too. But they weren't fully behind it. So take that for what it's worth. You got to go into it remembering that it ain't Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly's best. So don't go into it expecting no Talladega Nights or no Step Brothers or anything like that. But it's not a complete loss either. It just, like I said, it just takes a while to warm up, so to speak. If you can just hang with it, disconnect the brain, let it go. Just let it play, and it'll go. It'll go. It doesn't take too long. Give it past the first scene or two, There's some funny shit in the first scene. That being said, John C. Reilly completely does carry most of the humor in this movie. Of course, John C. Reilly, man, he's on fire. He's the man right now. He's always the man. John C. Reilly's just the man all over. Now, Holmes and Watson is being called one of 2018's worst, and that is where I would completely disagree. It's totally safe from my bottom 10 list of 2K18. Now that is a list that I do have. I don't have formulated, but I was looking through the movies of what I've seen this year, and I definitely found more than 10 that were that I consider worse than Holmes and Watson. So it's safe from that. My bottom 10 list, that'll be on the next episode as well. So yeah, Holmes and Watson, y'all. Like I said, the audience as a whole, myself included, we didn't get fully behind it. I got the most laughs, I believe, out of it, and that's not just because Braun Strowman shows up in it at one point. Yeah, that's a pretty cool cameo. Check it out, and that's not a spoiler. If you're a wrestling fan and you've been watching Raw or SmackDown lately, they've been blowing it up all over the place. So, yeah, take that for what it's worth. For the masses, unfortunately, I gotta go business versus personal in this one. Personally, I dug it. For the masses, I'd say matinee this one at your own risk. But when you go, don't keep the mindset that it's one of the year's worst, because it's not. I think that's what fucked it up in the beginning for me. And right there, that's where we got our PG-13 rating for this episode. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't mind, I need to take a little break skis, because I believe that I'm about to hit the limit mark on this joint. So if you don't mind, just bear with us. We're going to have a commercial for y'all or something. I don't know. Like last time, Stay Puft just jumped up on the joint with Jonathan Coachman. So I don't know what I'll have for y'all, but just stay put. Be back here with y'all in a moment, and we're going to finish up episode 14, last episode of 2K18 for y'all on The Real Rush. Hang tight. We'll be right back. Let's take a moment and look inside the mind of the movie buff that you guys know as J-Dub, the man behind The Real Rush. What you see before you are all, I believe they're all actually, except for like Westworld and a couple sprinkles in between there. Like, these are all original pressings of their respective videotapes. And what I mean by original pressings is, observe. And this is just a sample of some of the VHS tapes that I still hold, that I've maintained ever since like childhood. And I mean from childhood. Like, for example, that's the original Beverly Hills Cop issue by Paramount Home Video. You could tell by the logo on it, because the Paramount Home Video logo is old school as shit. That's the original issue from like late 84, early 1985. Then you got Vestron Video. Remember that joint? The scary ass V logo that would come out of nowhere. Yeah, that's Michael Jackson's Thriller. That one for like $24.95 or something back in the day. Expensive as hell. I think that was like the very first VHS we ever got when we got a VCR when I was a kid. WWF Backlash, I was actually at that in section 420 at the MCI Center, now known as the Capital One Arena. Virtuosity over there, which you can kind of see, but it's in that plexiglass shit that movies would come with if you bought it at like Errol's or like Blockbuster or something. So it's kind of fucked up, so you can't see it. That's actually a movie that influenced the name, part of the influence behind the name of the movie Rush, or excuse me, the movie Rush, The Real Rush. That's a different story for a different time. Let's see here. Natural Born Killers, that double tape Natural Born Killers. That's the director's cut that Warner Brothers would not approve. So Oliver Stone and the crew said, fuck y'all, and went over to Vidmark, and that is where that got released. On Laserdisc as well. I only got the videotape of that, unfortunately. But not unfortunately, because now that's a collector's edition. Especially since Warner Brothers did eventually approve that very cut in like 2010 or something. That's Tombstone from Once a Friend Gave That to Me a couple years ago. A boy
Sean. What up? What up? What up? What up, brother? Speaking of Warner Brothers, that's before Warner Brothers. That's old school. 'Cause that's when Warner Brothers wasn't even putting like the titles of the movies on top of the tapes and shit yet. So that's the Bugs Bunny Roadrunner movie. I think that tape was from like 82, the year I was born, maybe 81 or 83, around that time. We got the original Malcolm X Spike Lee joint, double tape, and then Heat double tape, Casino double tape, Wide Earp over there double tape. Got some rarities over there like Who's the Man and whatnot. The Time Machine, that's the 1960 joint. My pops got me onto that movie back in the day. Worthy of note, the Heat, that's a widescreen pressing, and that was back around the time. Yeah, I got widescreen on videotape, and that was even after I got Laserdiscs, which are over there. And that was back in the time where I kept telling everybody, yeah, get widescreen because you get more of the movie. And that's when everybody kept saying, no, you don't. That's like the movie's cut off or whatnot. And now everybody, what kind of TV you got? Yeah, you can't get a box TV. Why? Because everything's in widescreen. Why? Because you get more of the picture, man. Speaking of picture, like I said, I got some Laserdiscs over there too. And I even got, my nana gave this to me. That's a movie from Errol's Video Club, and I call that joint the original red box because, as you can see, if you rented a movie from Errol's back in the DC metropolitan area back in the day, it came in the big ass red brick. I believe that movie is Little Nikita with Sidney Poitier and River Phoenix. Boom. So that's just looking inside, taking a couple more extra minutes because I know this episode is already long as shit. But just taking a couple extra minutes and looking inside the minds of, not necessarily movie maniac, but your resident friendly neighborhood movie buff, your boy J-Dub, seeing that it ain't just for the real rush. It's because these are movies that this is what I've grown up with, y'all. Transcending videotapes, the Laserdisc, and one of these days I'll show you my DVD and Blu-ray collection once I actually get that organized. But that's a good little about 5-minute break. Let's go ahead and get on back to episode 14 of The Real Rush. Hey. Alright, peace.
And thanks, ladies and gents, for sticking through whatever I just slapped in the middle right there to bandage these two breaks in the video together. See? Self-aware. It's cool. Be cool with it. Self-aware. It's not only the machines that are self-aware these days. It is okay for us to be self-aware of ourselves. We do not look in too much as we should. What I just did right there, we're about to hit rated R. What I just did right there is what would happen if Arnold Schwarzenegger fucked Tommy Wiseau. He would talk little something like this, but a little bit more masculine, yeah. A little bit more pumping the iron, yeah. I don't know what the hell. Good thing for us, we got movies to talk about. So next up on The Real Rush Ticket, On the Basis of Sex. This one we've been looking forward to for a long time as well. This is based on the life and the early struggles and eventually some of the early cases of the notorious RBG, ladies and gents. That's right, Miss Ruth Gator I'm totally sorry. Miss Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Pepsi. You gotta love it. And yeah, Miss Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Man, everything you've done, we absolutely thank you. And this movie does a really good job, I believe, in portraying Miss Ginsburg's life. Especially the performance put on by Miss Felicity Jones. That's right, Rogue One. She does a fine job as the notorious RBG. You also have Armie Hammer as Martin Ginsburg. You have Justin Theroux, Sam Waterston, Stephen Root shows up in it at one point. Kathy Bates shows up in it. It's pretty good. I saw the 11 o'clock showing last Thursday. Did a Thursday night Angelica for the last Angelica session of 2018. Instead of Friday night Angelica, it was a Thursday night Angelica. So instead of it being like my Monday Night Raw, it was the night before it. So technically it was a pay-per-view, motherfuckers. And that was a triple threat movie day because I got to the last movie I'm gonna talk about with y'all before that, but I'm gonna get to that after this one. But yes, I saw the 11 o'clock showing at the end of a triple threat day. That's usually that's a hard slot to get through, especially when it's a serious movie. But this kept my attention the whole time because even though it's serious, it's got its lighthearted moments, and it's certainly inspiring as all hell. Definitely a great tale. Definitely a great tale. I did tear up at it a little bit. I didn't shed any tears, but I teared up at it a little bit. See it. See You on the Basis of Sex. It's currently in limited release. It's playing at the Angelica. It also might be playing at the Cinema Arts. Definitely check that out. Check out both their websites. It's Angelica and Cinema Arts in DC metropolitan area. Need no more than that. But it does go wide on January 11th. So if you don't get to see it before then, where you can, then you have no excuse after January 11th. Unfortunately, this didn't get any attention at the Golden Globes. I don't see it getting any Oscar contentions or attentions, any of that. Despite the fine performance put on by Miss Jones, but it just falls short of that mark. But I did really enjoy it, and that doesn't mean that anybody else won't enjoy it really as well. And as well, if you haven't seen it yet, the earlier this year, RBG, the so named. That's one of this year's best documentaries. We saw it at entry number 56 for this season, and it was our 220th total entry. Real Rush total RBG. That's definitely out on Blu-ray because I got it from my mama as a present earlier this year. So check out RBG. That I think that's going to get nominated as best documentary feature at the Oscars. Challenge me. I'm putting it out there. That's gonna be a nomination, along with Won't You Be My Neighbor and Three Identical Strangers. There were a lot of good documentaries this year. Free Solo, and I'm sure I'm missing one in there, but we'll get to those in a second because I'm digressing like shit. Last but most certainly not least, up on the Real Rush ticket, I got a movie to finally review for y'all that I've been talking about for weeks, and we finally saw one of the 2-day limited Fathom event showings. They Shall Not Grow Old. This is a new documentary from filmmaker extraordinaire, Mr. Peter Jackson, y'all. This man took actual 100-plus-year-old footage from British servicemen during their time serving their country in the military during World War I. It's all colorized and it's spliced together with audio interviews and such of actual vets from that area, and it tells a chronological story. Streamlined. It almost makes you forget that you're watching a documentary. It's like it looks like the way, okay, alright, hold on. Wow, yeah. So if you couldn't tell yet, wow. I wish we had documentaries like this back when we were going to school, because yeah, this would have kept my attention a lot more than the shit that we grew up with. The colorization and the restoration, it's absolutely remarkable. Like, the man took 100-plus-year-old footage that it wasn't filmed with like a camera that like it's motorized. Like somebody's sitting there doing this shit. Remember back in the charades back in the day, and you used to do this one? Yeah, nobody would know what the hell that means anymore. Nobody would have any clue unless Peter Jackson didn't tell you after the movie was over. Stay through the ending credits if you get an opportunity. I'm not sure if they're gonna show that once it goes wide release. I just gave away something right there. But yeah, the way that he restored the footage, it made it look like World War II was taking place during like the 1970s. and it was shot on home video of the time. They created, Jackson and his crew created this less than 2-hour documentary from over 100 hours of footage that they had to go through. That's just video. That's on top of the 60 plus hours of audio footage that they had to go through to match everything up to make it tell the story. I mean, yeah. So that's got best documentary written all over it, right? Right? Bad news, y'all. So this unfortunately missed the October 1st filing deadline, and it makes it ineligible for Best Documentary Feature at the upcoming Oscars. Because this would have won it. This would have won it. This would have won it. This would have won it just off the effort alone. This would have fucking won it. Absolutely. The good news is, and this is the one that I let slip earlier, is that due to its mega successful 2-day Fathom event only showings, this is going to open up in extremely limited showings in New York, LA, and DC starting on January 11th, and then it's expanding to 25 markets on February 1st. They Shall Not Grow Old. Check it out. The only thing is, as I was mentioning earlier, after the movie, there was Peter Jackson basically giving like a making of, so that was kind of like the DVD extra after the movie. I'm not sure if that was for Fathom event only screenings, or if you'll be able to catch it at one of the very limited screenings. But most certainly, since I'm from the DC Metro area, I'm a rep DC Metro, so January 11th, y'all need to keep your eyes and ears open for this joint and see it. Don't wait for me to pick up my pen. Don't wait for it to come out on home video. It was made this way to be seen in theaters. And it's got a 3D version. I'm kind of interested to see what that was all about too. I wouldn't mind re-seeing this just for the 3D aspects. See, They Shall Not Grow Old, ladies and gentlemen. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call a wrap for episode 14. And that's a wrap for 2K18. And once again, what a 2K18 it has been. We are now at 209 movies seen for season 2 of The Real Rush so far. And that brings us to a total of 373 of all Real Rush times. We have until 11:59 p.m. on, and I could be wrong on this. I will fact check myself after the episode to make sure, but that would be on Friday, January 18th until this season resets. But that's then. We still got a couple more weeks. Next weekend is not going to help our count or anything, but hey, we've already broken so many records this year that it's like, hey, let's just, it's kind of like, you know, like you're up like, I don't know, 69-21 at the Super Bowl. Like, just take it easy. We're still going to play. Take it easy. Take it easy. Next weekend's not going to help our count any, because next episode, episode 15, I only have one actual review for y'all, and that is for Escape Room. Oh, yay! Because thank God we're getting to that amazing time of the year, January, that's called the quote-unquote dump month. Everything that wasn't deemed worthy enough to release throughout the actual year. Yes, because the holidays are over and nobody's really going to the movie theater, so this is what gets put out. But I'm not. This doesn't. I mean, Escape Room doesn't look like something just off the bat that says, "Hey, I want to be a shitty movie." We're gonna check it out. We'll have that review for y'all next episode. In addition to that, I'm also gonna have my Real Rush, Golden Globe, the picks. I'm gonna have the picks, like the Afro picks, but not the Afro picks, because I don't have an Afro right now. But I have my picks in the movie categories of Golden Globes, so I have those ready for y'all in time for the Golden Globes, which are next Sunday. I didn't realize that next Sunday was January 6th, I think, something like that. But yeah, we're going to have that. And I also have my 2K18 bottom 10 list for y'all. That's my easier list to put together. One of the more fun ones too. But in the meantime, if you have any questions, comments, thoughts, concerns, whatever, grocery orders, you gotta go somewhere else for that shit. Yeah, because I don't do that. I haven't quite expanded my market quite that far yet. Amazon Fresh beat me to the punch. Bastards. Yet I digress. Meantime, thanks for subscribing, y'all. And please continue to do so. And at the same time, please continue to spread the word of The Real Rush, like everybody should be spreading love these days. Thanks for watching throughout this year, y'all. Like I said, it's been an awesome year. Thanks for tuning in not all of 2018. Well, actually, no, I want to say that, yeah. If you've been following me on Instagram this entire time, since the inception of The Real Rush, which is what jumped me on Instagram in the first place, then thank y'all, because that'll be almost 2 years. That will be 2 years next month in a couple weeks, once we start season 3. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in to The Real Rush on YouTube for these last 14 episodes leading up to New Year's Eve. Because without y'all, I wouldn't have jumped on this joint in the first place. Got that little push. Everybody saying, hey, we need J-Dub to actually tell us about the movies. Thank y'all for that little push. Getting the rush kicked off here. YouTube. Thanks for tuning in. Have fun, y'all. Love J-Dub. Enjoy yourselves at the movies. Remember, at the movies, gotta keep the lips shut. Gotta keep phones away. On vibrate. Nope, not even. We're turning off the vibrate. Turn off the vibrate. Keep that brightness level down. And I'm even extending this. If you got the smart watches, you gotta turn that motion shit off, y'all. Because every time somebody get a knee slapper going on or whatever, or you kick it back at the movie, all of a sudden I see, look into a ray of light, it's blinding, it's hitting me in my face, in the movie theater. We don't need that shit. Turn all that bullshit off. And until episode 15, y'all, we'll see you next weekend, and we'll see you next year. Peace out! Who you calling a caffeine-aholic, motherfucker?